Let's make my Tiny Tinker's quilt pattern. One 42 count layer cake will yield you a 48-inch by 56-inch quilt, and half a layer cake, 20 10-inch squares, will yield you a 32-inch by 40-inch baby size quilt. For the fabrics, I am using Monsterville from Art Gallery Fabrics, and I will be making the baby size quilt today, but I will show you instructions for both sizes. Now, although I am using children's print, this pattern will look amazing with all kinds of fabric because this pattern is very universal. Now, with your 10-inch squares, you will subcut two 2.5-inch squares, two 2.5-inch by 6.5-inch rectangles, and one 4.5-inch by 8.5-inch rectangle. And that's it. Pretty simple and easy. You'll just have to repeat this step to all of your 42 count 10-inch squares or 20 10-inch squares for the baby size. Once everything is cut, you are going to select two 2.5-inch squares in one print. Then for your secondary print, you are going to select two 2.5-inch by 6.5-inch rectangles and one 4.5-inch by 8.5-inch rectangle. First, you are going to sew both 2.5-inch squares to your 2.5-inch by 6.5-inch rectangles. Then you are going to take both those units and sew one on top of your 4.5-inch by 8.5-inch rectangle, and then one on the bottom of your unit to create a 8.5-inch quilt block. Then all you have to do is repeat this step until you've made a total of 42 quilt blocks or 20 quilt blocks for the baby size. Once all of your blocks are made, you will lay them out side by side in a 6x7 layout or a 4x5 layout for the baby size, and you'll rotate your blocks 90 degrees until you have a scrappy 4-patch that nestles together. Then, as always, sew your blocks together to form rows, and then lastly, sew your rows together to complete your quilt top. And here is what my quilt looks like all completed. For the backing, I am using a coordinated print from within the collection, and for the thread choice, I am going with glide threads in the color Sea Mist. And here is what my Tiny Tinker's quilt pattern looks like all quilted. For the quilting, I went with Bebop, which I will have linked down below in the description. But I do hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. If you can please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified for your next amazing quilt project.